Hi, it's Ed Screenager here for Gaiscioch magazine. We're currently in Cologne previewing Dropzone at ESL's first preview tournament for this new game. We're currently here with, well, why don't you introduce yourself for everyone at home?
Hello, I'm Jason Coleman. I'm the President of Sparkypants Studios, the developers of Dropzone.
And that is a fantastic name for a studio. Where did you come up with that, first of all?
The real origin is you need to come up with a name, and it's difficult. We make great games, not necessarily great names. But for us, it really signifies that it sort of shows a willingness to go get it. We're a bunch of veterans, but we're also don't take ourselves too seriously.
That's great. Why don't you tell us a bit about Dropzone as a game?
So the real intention for us is, first of all, we want to make games that we love to play. And we looked back and we said, well, RTS games were some of our favorite both to develop and to play, but none of us were playing them anymore. Some of us had moved on to MOBAs, but even that, a lot of us weren't doing that. And so it came down to several reasons, and it had to do with not enough time to play an RTS. It had to do with being left behind by kind of the overhead complexity and the chest openings of a traditional RTS. So we basically said, well, can we give that feel of an RTS in a short time span? And we feel like we've done it with Dropzone. To us, it feels very much like that split attention span of an RTS, but all in a 15-minute kind of experience.
And the game itself, how long has the game been in development for?
We started our first prototype in November of 2014. And then we started a brand new engine for the game in June of 2015. And here we are.
Sorry. And do we have an expected ETA for it coming out?
We never really know. The next phase is closed beta, and we have to learn a lot from that and develop the game through there. But the goal is to be into open beta by the end of the year.
And you've just moved into closed beta, I believe. Is that correct?
This week.
Fantastic. And the game itself, it's looking like it's a little bit of a mix of a MOBA and an RTS, as you said. Why did you feel that you could bring an RTS to the mass market like this? Why not create an RTS game?
Again, like for us, we're not playing traditional RTS anymore.
Yeah.
And so we said, what would we play? And so we basically we iterated and we took any elements of design that we liked from anything and threw in our own bits. And we said, what's working? What's going to make this feel like an RTS, but allow us to play a 15-minute game? And also, is it a game that I can relatively easily jump into, but I have a lot of mastery over time? And so we ended up with Dropzone, and all the rules kind of developed out of that.
So is part of the intention of that to really lower the barrier to access for a strategic game like this, as opposed to a game like, for example, StarCraft, probably one of the most well-known RTS games, but requires a great deal of time and understanding to really compete at, and it can be quite intimidating for players to take up for the first time.
Yeah, we basically, my previous company, Big Huge Games, we basically founded because we loved StarCraft. So we're huge fans of StarCraft. But it's very much that. It's that there's sort of almost the chess openings that you have to know to compete even at the mid-level on StarCraft that you have to keep up with. It also means that those moves tend to become fairly rote, that people tend to play them the same way. Mm-hmm. And that just sort of has this whole lead up of time and knowledge that you have to keep up. So we wanted to kind of said, what if you strip all that away and we get right to the meat of having to think about these multiple things all at once, all throughout the game.
And so the game itself has a number of elements that we see in RTS. It's got a 1v1, that's correct, yeah?
That's correct.
But what sort of MOBA elements does it bring to the game?
So the big pieces that we borrow from MOBAs, we borrow the sort of squad composition and the squad arrangements that you need to do during tactical combat. Yeah. So it's very important that you have your tanks forward and you have your support behind you and things like that. So this is something normally MOBA players do as a team. Yeah. In Dropzone, you're doing it all on your own. Also, the basic abilities, the way they work, and the ultimates certainly come from MOBAs.
So it sounds like you've got squads and squad compositions. Does that mean that it has the same level of character complexity where you build skills and you manage your characters' upgrades and you level them through the game?
That's right. So what's happening, there's actually a whole portion of the game that's not during the game, or during the match, which is building out your heroes. So we call them pilots. You have a pilot, and then you choose which gear you're going to outfit your pilots with. And that gear defines the abilities that you're going to have in the game. Yeah. So you go into the game, different gear, depending on its power, unlocks at different levels in the game. When you're leveling up your pilot, or leveling up your squad, you're choosing which one you're going to level up.
That sounds very much like the sort of game mechanics that MOBA players would be quite familiar with. And with MOBAs being quite successful in this day and age, did that influence your decision for your match time in the game? As we've seen here in Cologne, the match time in the game certainly has a major impact on the way the game's played.
So I'd say the match time is something we started with. We don't have, all gaming that we're doing tends to be these shorter kind of time spans.
Yeah.
So we said, what's the shortest amount of time that we could still have a really satisfying experience? And 15 minutes ended up being it. And it also has these side effects, which we didn't think about at the time, but it's great for tournaments. It's very easy to run a predictable tournament that we have this fixed match time.
And talking about tournaments, as I said earlier, we're at the first ESL preview tournament of that. How is the tournament going today?
It's going really well. I mean, this is a chance for us not only to show and sort of open the first phase of closed beta and show Dropzone, but also it's always about learning. I mean, we're getting to see what the game looks like and the problems that we have, or the things that are really cool when people are streaming it and shoutcasting it. So we're just, constantly learning, oh man, we should do this, we should do that, we need a feature like that would make it way better.
It does sound like it's been a lot of fun here, and it has been a lot of fun here at Cologne watching the first preview tournament. I think that we can say that it's a fast-paced game and that it looks like it has complexity and depth, but a nice low barrier to entry, and I think that that's probably the sort of game you want to watch. If you've watched the ESL preview already, then it is a little bit like watching the Crystal Maze, but if you've not, then you should go and watch it and you'll understand that. When and where can players sign up for closed beta for this game?
So they can go to playdropzone.com and sign up, and they should be able to, over time, we'll be doling out keys, and they can get right in and play.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Paid.
Ready for action? Right. Awaiting directive. Hit me.